If you go on Twitch as of late and watch a handful of streamers, you'd notice a growing number of them have been changing their gear to Elgato products, and by extension, all of these products have been appearing all over YouTube as well. The reason why a lot of these content creators have been shifting from the industry standard equipment to these new products isn't because the quality is better, but because it streamlines the process of content creation. Before Elgato started to revolutionize the workflow of streamers, they had to deal with a lot of quirky workarounds if they wanted to do something a bit more ambitious than just a simple gaming stream. Elgato, as we know it today, has been producing product lines and computer innovations since 2010 and purchased by Corsair in 2018, but the company itself was founded in 1992, I can't read, under the name Elgato Systems. However, that's a story for another day. Elgato shifted their focus to content creation back in the early 2010s because gamers were hacking the iTV to record gameplay for YouTube videos. The iTV was a product made by Elgato at the time. Think Roku, but old. So when they discovered this alternative use of their product and a new target audience, they decided to take a risk and produce a product for that specific purpose. I wish my business risks would turn out that well, Jesus Christ. But they really began to capitalize off the expansion of streaming in 2017 with the release of the Stream Decks, which is a thing that does the do. Look it up, I'm not your dad. But the thing doing the do was the first major push in their quest to streamline streaming. Words. Making the workflow significantly more bearable to those who really wanted to push their streams to the next level. But this was also reshaping their business model. Now, Elgato's business model is rather unique, where they opt to undermine their competition as opposed to outperform them. Now, some people might think that's the same thing, but there is a noticeable distinction. While in some cases, undermining does mean outperforming, like with their green screens and capture cards. However, when it comes to things like their Wave mics, the Wave XLR, the Facecam, and something else, key lights, that's what I was thinking, Jesus. The actual hardware isn't anything special, but when it comes to the additional capability provided by the software, it gives them a massive edge when it comes to content creators and streamers, and that gives them a huge boost in the market. For an example, I'll use the Wave 3 mic and compare it to the King Bee, the absolute best microphone in the price range and where the point of diminishing returns starts for microphones. The Wave 3 doesn't compare to the King Bee, not even in the slightest. The King Bee is absolutely amazing for speaking, voiceovers, music, anything you throw at it, it'll sound amazing. Meanwhile, the Wave 3 is really only good for speaking. So does that mean the Wave 3 is pointless at its price point? No, not even the slightest. The Wave 3 has a large list of advantages that makes it a no-brainer for most streamers and content creators, especially if you're starting off, especially if you're a pro. It has Clip Guard, the Wavelink mixer, its physical layout and the features offered on its layout, and it being a good quality USB mic, which is admittedly rather rare. It's just an easy to use, good sounding mic with an invaluable software for streamers. The Wave 3 just can't compete with pure sound quality, so Elgato focused on the feature sets that its target audience would kill to use. That's what I mean by Elgato is focused on undermining the competition and not necessarily outperforming them. With all of their amazing products, they are dominating the streamer market, and to me, it seems pretty obvious that they're gunning for a content creator ecosystem, similar to what Apple has mastered with their phones, computers, laptops, watches, earbuds, your soul. However, there are a number of gaps in their product line, and I think that if they were to fill these holes with their fantastic software and good hardware, I think they could easily dominate the content creator market on YouTube. The first product I think Elgato needs is a mid-range point-and-shoot camera. This would be marketed as an upgrade from the Facecam, so let's call it the Face Camera, or the Head Cam, or actually I don't have a good name for this one. Okay, no, I got it. The Wave Cam Go. Just indulge me. And I think they could partner with a company like Fuji or preferably Nikon for the sensors and lens. When Elgato made their microphones, they partnered with a company called Lewitt. Lewitt is renowned for super high quality XLR microphones. So their partnership with Elgato didn't take away from their sales because they don't make USB mics. Despite the fact they're both making and selling mics at the same price point, they're selling to two different audiences. And that's why I think a partnership with a company like Nikon, a company that normally specializes in picture and photography as opposed to video, I think it'd be really good if they went down that route. This hypothetical camera would focus on streaming and video recording, and it can take photos, but it isn't primed for that. Basic features that it would include would be USB charging and a replaceable battery, a 16mm to 50mm lens, a flip-out touchscreen, easy-to-use menus for new content creators, and similar features introduced in the Sony ZV-1, which is a $700 point-and-shoot camera by Canon. That being an auto background blur, product showcase, and built-in ND filters. This way you can get more professional-looking shots without doing any of the work, because you're a lazy fuck. Now, the actual camera quality at this price point would probably be just a little bit better than the iPhone 12 Max Pro. That's a long-ass name, what the fuck? But with the ability to adjust aperture, ISO, white balance, all those features found in professional DSLR and mirrorless cameras, those things, as well as better low-light performance, all those things combined would make it actually pretty professional looking enough for most entry-level content creators, or just streamers who don't really want to deal with the complicated BS of a fucking DSLR. I am so angry I can't even pronounce the words! God damn it, get him! 13 minutes into recording. Oh. Some people might not like this, but it has to be limited to 1080p and not go all the way up to 4K. If this were a 4K camera, it would cost the price to either go up or the overall quality of the camera to go down. Streamers can't even use 4K and most content creators can't even really use 4K to its full extent. Most people can't even watch videos in 4K because of the bandwidth required for it, so it's just an unnecessary expense. Speaking of unnecessary expenses, this camera would also not have an internal mic. The target audience of this camera will already have an external microphone, more likely than not, which is either going to be a portable shotgun mic for vlogging or a desktop mic for streaming. I got both! I just realized I totally left my can of Coke in the shot. On the road again, I can't wait to be on the road. Okay, back on topic, and of course it would have things like a mic jack, potential headphone jack, a horseshoe mount with a certain NFC connection plate underneath, but we'll talk more about that in a bit. And as for the actual software that would push it beyond its price tag, a good aspect to begin with would be the menu. The entry-level Canon cameras have really good and simple to use menu systems that use simple diagrams and descriptions to tell you what each adjustment does. I can read. The next advantage this camera should have is a webcam mode that it connects through the USB. Since it would be charged through USB-C, it would also act as a dummy battery. When it's being used as a webcam, you'd be able to adjust all the settings in their webcam app that's currently used for the facecam. Hi facecam, that's you baby. This next feature would be a bit of a trailblazer and rather experimental, but I feel like many people who do IRL streaming would die for a feature like this. Currently, IRL streamers are limited to using their phones for their kind of streaming, so maybe, just maybe, there could be an app that would connect directly with Twitch over a Wi-Fi or hotspot signal, and now you could have better quality video for your streams and access to your phone. All you would need at that point is a few power banks for your camera for it to last longer for, longer streams. Now that's about it for the camera itself, but we're developing an Elgato ecosystem here. If Elgato really wants to capture the market, they need stuff to go with the camera. And that leads me to the Wave Mic Go series. Earlier I mentioned an NFC plate underneath the horseshoe to hold a shotgun mic or something, but I never specified what that would be for. Basically the idea is a wireless mic setup. These mics would have their own battery source, similar to how the Rode NT-G4 can have 400 hour really? 400 hours? 400. I wrote the script, I don't know why I said that. 400 hours of use from 2 AAA batteries. I think that's the amount, it might be 4. But if you don't have the XLR camera, it could connect through a normal mic jack, or you can buy a wireless receiver so it can pair with the mic and you can connect it to your computer. Now this wouldn't just be for one mic, this would be a whole collection of mics. Of course you'd have your typical short shotgun and lav mics, but you'd also have an omnidirectional mic, probably in the shape of a sphere, a bidirectional shotgun mic so you can hear your subject and your cameraman, and a multi-lav kit so you can have multiple subjects mic'd up at once so you can have clear audio for each person without telling them to be right in front of the camera like the dirty f***ing sluts that they are. One advantage when it comes to vlogging, either just a talking headshot like what I'm doing now, or travel vlogs, is that it's just one less cable to keep track of. Trust me, this is f***ing annoying. but it gives travel vloggers and IRL streamers, multi-person game streamers, all of these people and more, significantly more flexibility for better audio. For IRL streamers and travel vloggers, it incentivizes them to buy multiple mics. And something specifically for the lav mics, you could ideally adjust the levels of each lav mic in the camera, but of course that would probably be a feature limited to the multi-lav kit, which would be a lot more expensive, you know, more money, more bitches. The prices on these mics would vary, but I would imagine the cheapest they could go with a setup like this would be $100, with the more elaborate lav mic sets getting significantly more expensive the more lavs you get. Then, of course, there would be an external receiver for your computer, which would probably go for about $50 realistically. If they really wanted to dive into the more IRL streaming and travel vlog groups, they could make a gimbal specifically for the Wavecam Go. For those people who don't know, a gimbal is basically a handheld tripod that also stabilizes the camera. It comes with a lot of controls, it's pretty neat, I want one, but they're expensive. This is where you could really undercut the competition by making a cheap gimbal in the $100 to $200 range that could only work with this Wavecam Go. I think I'm going to wrap it up here because this video is starting to get a bit too long, and I'm not looking forward to editing it. This, of course, is just a bunch of initial batch of ideas with many other ideas that could stem from things like this. Like, if this is all successful at first, they could start delving into things like camera cages, portable key lights, wireless Elgato headphones for not only gaming, but portable monitoring audio from the camera. There's just a lot they could do with this. But now, I'm gonna shut the fuck up, and instead, I'm gonna ask you what you think of these potential Elgato products. If you're a content creator, would you buy any of this? Like, if they were exactly as I told you, does that sound interesting? What else could they do to completely control the content creator market? Let me know in the comments below. I guess you could also like and subscribe. I should go.